Whenever we're mixing our tracks, we're always looking for a little bit more punch. And sometimes it's quite hard to get that from just normal compression on a sound or a number of sounds that you've got. This is where parallel compression can really help you. And it's basically a technique that involves blending a heavily compressed sound with the original sound to get more out of that sound so that it has more presence, but it doesn't sacrifice the dynamics of your original audio. Professional mix engineers use this all the time and apply it to drums, vocals, bass, and even sometimes the whole track. There are actually no limitations to what you can apply this to. It's just if it works for you or not. So I will go through the pros and cons of using this technique and what you've got to be careful of. And I will also show you how to set this technique up in your DAW so that you can apply this to any sound you might have and get to getting a better mix. Okay, before we start, I'll play the track so you can hear what it sounds like without any parallel compression. Okay, so quite a simple groove there. I haven't done a massive amount of EQing on it, a few plugins here and there, a little bit of reverb, just to keep it simple so we can really see what this technique offers us. So first I'm going to mute all the instrumentation so that we've just got the drums that we're working with. Then I'm going to highlight all my drums, which are in blue, and then I'm going to press X for my mixer, and then I'm going to put all of those into a bus. So for now, I'm just going to use 15. And then I'm going to put all these at 0 by pressing Option click. And then I'm going to put them all into pre-fader. So they're now all in bus 15, and I'm going to go over here and I'm going to say, right, compressor, and I'm going to use the stock plugin for now, but you can use any plugin. It depends on which one you think does the right thing for what you're trying to do with the parallel compression, of course. But I'm going to use, I'm going to use this one today, and all I'm going to do now is solo that so I can just hear what I'm applying to that beat on here. Okay, I'm going to turn auto gain off because I don't want it to get really loud. And then I'm going to start compressing that. What you want to do with this compressor now is drive it really hard. So anything from a -3 to a -20, -25 sometimes even, dB reduction is going to give you the desired results. In the example that I'm going to give you, I'm going to try and get a bit more of an extension or a fatness on the back end of the sounds by increasing the attack and having a quick release anyway, so that I don't get more punch on my transients as they are without compression, the original sounds, but instead get a bit more depth and a bit more extension on those sounds and a bit more power after that. But if you had, for instance, some really soft sounds and you wanted to punch them more, then you could make that attack really slow and compress it again really hard and get that snap on the start of those transients better, and then you would push that level in and get that level to sit so that you get more of a punchy sound. But these sounds that I'm using in this track are quite punchy, so they don't need that. Turn down the bus a little bit because it's going to be really loud. Right, so those are all my drums. So now let's start compressing. So as you can hear, I'm getting a slight kind of overdriving effect on it now, which I quite like that. Excellent. You can add that little bit of distortion on it if you wanted by going a bit further, by reducing the attack more. Right, so that's really hard compression now. So what we're going to do next is we're going to feed that back in with our uncompressed drums. So turn the volume down completely and listen to just the track as it was. And then we're going to slowly feed in this parallel compression. Nice. So then if I play it without, and then with. Nice. Without. So you can really notice that when I take it out like this, that kick sits really up front, and that percussion all sits a bit loose. It doesn't sit like it's not gelling as well. So now when I put it on, it's all sitting much more solid. Nice. And then if I try and drive it a little bit more whilst I'm listening to it, so this is what it sounds like in here now. Put that back in. Without. With. So as you can hear, that is a massive difference. That really brings those drums forward. It makes them sit much tighter together, but you're still keeping those transients of those kicks and those snares just as how I had them, but it just sounds fatter and bigger. Slightly louder overall. So what you might want to do is you might want to send the beats as they are on their own into another bus just directly from the outputs, just so that you can then control the level between the two and drop them both down if they're a bit too loud. Okay, so now let's have a listen to this bass. Right, this is very round and it hasn't got much tone to it. So what we can do using the same technique is get more tone out of it. So this is how we do that. First, we're going to set it up exactly the same. Bus 16 this time, 0 send, and then put it on pre-fader, and then we're in that bus here. Then we're going to turn that down and we're going to add compression onto that. But then what we're going to do this time is we're going to add an EQ before, because I don't want to control that low end. I quite like the way I'm controlling that over there. I just want more of that tone. So then we set that up like that, so that we're now only affecting the higher frequencies of that bass. So let's have a listen to that. Lovely. So now we can control that massively using this technique. Let's go with this one. That gives me a bit of growl. That's a cool little sound. So now we feed that back in. Nice. So without those two, and then with them. Much more interesting. Lovely. And then finally, I'm going to apply it to the whole track. I'm just going to mute off the two that I've already done. I'm going to select everything, and then I'm going to send them to their own bus as before to set up the process. So this is 17, boost them to 0 dB, and then go pre-fader. And then we are in this channel here, and we're going to put compression on that. Lovely. We're going to solo it. And let's have a listen. Okay, and what I'm noticing now is that that bass is hugely controlling that compressor. So I had to turn it right down, or I might even remove it. Yeah, I might not put the bass in it because it's so dominant. So what I'll do is I'll just ignore that. So you're getting a lot more. So every compressor will give you something different. So you've got to find the compressors that work for you to do what you're trying to achieve. That's nice. I'm even getting a bit of drive on that now. It's almost like a bit of saturation. Nice. Okay, let's add that back in. By applying this technique to this mix, I've made a massive difference in it already, and obviously you can fine tune this and find the right compressor to do the right thing and maybe get a little bit more of a pumping effect happening. That can happen as well. But there are pros and cons, and I'm going to lay them out for you now. And that brings me to the end of this video. I really hope you've enjoyed it. Have a great day and see you soon.